All right, so today we're jumping right into a wild chapter from HARISHANKar Parsai's classic, Nitale Ki Diary. That's The Diary of an Idle Man. And let me tell you, it's a trip. We're talking about a surreal political nightmare where, honestly, the rules of the game are completely flipped. And the spooky part? As we go through this, you might find it all feels a little too real. So picture this. Our narrator drifts off to sleep and boom, he's suddenly standing inside a legislative assembly. But it's not what you'd expect. Instead of desks and debate, he finds this weird room full of sofas and cots with people just knocked out, sleeping. And he quickly figures out this isn't some nap room. No, this is where the real power lies. A place where what you do is measured by how long you can stay asleep. And this is where it gets really interesting. I mean, Parsai penned this decades ago, but the question he's posing is just as relevant now as it ever was. Is this whole thing just some weird, absurd dream? Or is it actually a brutally honest mirror reflecting what politics can sometimes look like? That's exactly what we're going to dig into. Okay, so let's get into the mechanics of this sleepy government. How does it even work? Well, you can forget everything you know about votes or debates or policy. Because in this world, the entire stability of the state comes down to a very, very different kind of competition. Yeah, you heard that right. The ruling party's hold on power depends entirely on whether its members can rack up more collective sleeping hours than the opposition. It's a numbers game. If the opposition manages to outsleep them, that's it. The government has to resign. Political strength here is quite literally your ability to just stay unconscious. So, you can imagine this creates some pretty wild political strategies, right? The ruling party's secret weapon isn't a brilliant orator. It's a team of expert sleepers. I'm talking about people who can clock in, pass out instantly, and not stir until the end of the day. These guys are literally the pillars holding up the government. And the opposition? Well, they're in a tough spot. They have to keep waking their own members up for these performative protests, which just kills their total sleeping hours. Now, to survive in this bizarre political landscape, Parsai gives us a brand new vocabulary. So, again, forget about passing bills or filibustering. Real political action here boils down to 3 different kinds of outs, and each one is its own little masterclass in avoidance and strategic maneuvering. First up, you've got the walkout. This is your classic performative protest. But in this world, it's just a massive pain. Why? Because it interrupts a politician's actual job, which, of course, is sleeping. One opposition guy is complaining like, I'm just about to get some good sleep and somebody shakes me awake to go do a walkout. They're out for 5 minutes, then they're back. It's nothing but political theater. Next, there's the eat out. This is a bit trickier. It means you spend your whole day in the canteen, but you have to get someone else to foot the bill. So you're constantly on the hunt for a sponsor. And it's just a brilliant, cynical metaphor for a political system built on pure patronage, where all your effort goes into personal gain, not actually serving the public. But the holy grail, the most powerful and respected move of all, is the leap out. And what is that? It's the absolute mastery of strategic sleeping. It is the fine art of total disengagement. You contribute to your party's power by doing nothing, by just staying completely inert. In this crazy world, doing absolutely nothing is the single most effective action you can take. So, our narrator wanders out of the sleeping area and into the main assembly hall. And this is where the satire just gets razor sharp. The few politicians who are actually awake, they're not debating anything important. Oh no. They're completely wrapped up in this incredibly passionate but totally nonsensical drama. And just look at this contrast, because it's the heart of the whole story. What's the big debate inside? The tragic, accidental death of a single dog that got hit by a government bus. And what's happening right outside the building? A massive, real-life human crisis. Thousands of farmers, their livelihoods destroyed by a hailstorm, are protesting, literally starving. And their voices? They're completely ignored, drowned out by all this fake outrage over a dog. You have an opposition member standing up, shouting with all this passion that the minister is a murderer, that he has blood on his hands, all because of this dog. He even brings up mythology, saying this was a noble animal, and so the minister must resign. The language is epic, the emotion is dialed up to 11, but the topic is just so trivial compared to what's actually happening outside.
So what does the government do? Not about the dog, but about the actual crisis, the starving farmers. Well, the minister in charge steps up and delivers an absolute masterclass in political evasion. It's basically a step-by-step guide on how to make a real problem just disappear. It's this systematic takedown of reality piece by piece. First, the minister just denies it. Nope, no hail fell. When people push back, he pivots. Okay, well, if it fell, it didn't actually destroy any crops. When that doesn't work, he tries a new tactic. Well, even if crops were destroyed, nobody lives there anyway. And for the final blow, okay, fine. Maybe some farmers live there, but there was no real loss. It's this downward spiral of denial that feels chillingly familiar, doesn't it? And when that whole ladder of lies just isn't working, the minister pulls out his ultimate trump card. We're calling it the diversion gambit. The idea is simple. If you can't solve a real problem, you just invent a fake enemy and blame them for everything.
And there you have it, straight from the horse's mouth. This is his go-to solution for everything. Farmers are hungry? Oh, they must have been stirred up by communists. Problem solved. He's actually proud of this. He even boasts that he used this tactic on his own kid. His child asked for milk, and he just looked at him and said, "You've been instigated by communists." And you know what? The kid went quiet. And in the minister's mind, the problem was solved. So as our narrator is leaving, totally shaken by all this, he runs into one last person. It's a legislator dressed in this very traditional, almost spiritual-looking way. And he asks him, what is going on here? And the answer he gets, it's the key. It's the philosophy that explains all the madness he's just seen. And here it is, maybe the most chilling line in the whole story. The legislator just says it, plain as day. Asking questions, even just thinking for yourself, that's considered a breach of discipline here. He says their culture has no history of asking the public what they think. So democracy, with all its messy requirements for accountability and listening to the people, he just dismisses it. It's a foreign idea, he says. It doesn't suit us. And in that moment, it all just clicks for our narrator. The full horror of it all. He realizes this isn't just about incompetence or foolishness or absurdity. It's a deliberate choice. It's a system that is actively rejecting the very foundations of a healthy society. And the sheer terror of that realization, that's what finally jolts him awake. Which brings us to the final, piercing question that Parsai leaves hanging in the air, the one he really wants us to think about. Okay, so the narrator woke up. He escaped the nightmare. But what about us? When we look around and see political theater focusing on trivial things while huge crises are ignored, when we see leaders whose main skill is blaming someone else instead of finding a solution, when the whole idea of being held accountable is treated like an inconvenience, have we actually woken up? Or are we maybe, just maybe, still living in the dream?